Coming up on WFT's First at 5, city leaders address goals for Gainesville at the annual State of the City meeting. Find out what officials hope to achieve this year.
Plus, one of North Central Florida's hospitals is under the microscope again. We bring you the latest on the situation.
And we have your first look forecast coming up in about 3 minutes. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WFT's First at 5. I'm Chris Will.
And I'm Bailey Korinek. Thank you for joining us. Gainesville city officials met to discuss the state of the city and the goals for Gainesville in the upcoming year.
WFT's Natasha Holt joins us now from Gainesville City Hall with some of the key takeaways from the meeting.
At the 2024 State of the City address, Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward highlighted accomplishments of Gainesville's residents, students, artists, and first responders in what he calls a city on the move. Now, he did mention some of the challenges that Gainesville's been forced to overcome in the past year, but he steered clear of any details and really just focused on the highlights. More than 100 Gainesville city leaders, students, and community members gathered to hear about the greatest accomplishments in their city this past year. Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward spent 45 minutes highlighting the city's efforts in areas such as gun violence prevention, traffic safety, increasing affordable housing, climate action, and parks and recreation. And he used a metaphor to compare.
Over the past 11 and a half months, we've plowed a lot of unexpected snow together. But we found, and we continue to find, a way over, under, around, and through.
He called attention to how the city has listened to the community on issues such as the open container ordinance and preserving the Ironwood Golf Course and Thelma Bolton Center. In the last year, an emphasis was put on public safety, with new initiatives to prevent gun violence and traffic safety measures, such as new signals and improvements to bike lanes and roads. The mayor accentuated improvements to local parks, trails, and preservation and cleanup efforts to Gainesville's public spaces. Concerns for many Gainesville residents are the recent changes related to the GRU shortfall and use of the contingency fund. Now, Mayor Ward did briefly mention these changes, but declined to comment any further when asked about any future plans for decisions on the matters. Reporting live in Gainesville, Natasha Holt, WUFT News.
Gainesville city leaders honor a fire rescue driver for his heroism. Gainesville fire rescue driver Reggie Kinsey III was recognized by Mayor Harvey Ward at the State of the City event. Mayor Ward spoke about his bravery on November 23rd when he saved multiple people from a burning vehicle while off duty.
It is a lot cooler today than it was yesterday. WFT's Daniella Rudolph is here in the Weather Center to tell us if this is going to continue. Daniella?
Thanks, Chris. And you're right, it is actually a lot colder right now than it was yesterday. I'll talk about that in just a second, but let's look at a live look at the campus cam. We see these overcast skies, not going to be producing any rain this evening, but we do have some weekend rain on the way. Temperatures at 61 right now. Now look at this big drop since the same time yesterday, down 13 here in Gainesville, down 17 in the Villages, and down 15 in Jacksonville. So it is a really chilly evening. We're looking right now at that satellite and radar. We see that we have this cold front that has made its way through the state, leaving some cool, dry air behind it, and we have those winds flowing from the north, which is also going to make it feel a little bit cooler if you're staying with me here in Gainesville. For your evening plans, some pre-Gainesville and Valentine's Day activities, those temperatures are going to be getting down to 44 this evening, so I suggest you do take a jersey.
Thanks, Daniella. A man is dead after being hit by a tractor trailer early this morning. FHP troopers say a 68-year-old man was walking in the eastbound lane of County Road 232 around 1 a.m. Tractor trailer driving in the lane collided with the man. He was pronounced dead at the scene by emergency service responders. The driver and the passenger in the tractor trailer were not injured.
One of the largest hospitals in the state, HCA North Florida, shut down surgeries last month, causing disruption with community stakeholders. WFT's Teitel joins us live in the studio to tell us why the hospital is making headlines this week.
The 10-letter word inspection looms over HCA now. Almost a month into these suspensions, the Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration paid a visit to the facility. A week ago, Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration visited HCA Florida North Florida Hospital at West Newberry Road in Gainesville. AHCA Communications confirmed the inspection is the first the agency conducted for the hospital since October 18th. The October visit was in response to an unannounced complaint survey to which AHCA found no deficiencies according to a public records search. The agency has yet to release the details of the visit to HCA Florida North Florida Hospital. This inspection comes in light of surgery suspensions beginning January 17th for problems surrounding sterilized equipment. WUFT previously reported the hospital possessed tools with traces of blood and tissue from prior surgeries. HCA Florida North Florida Hospital CEO Eric Lawson released a statement about rescheduling elective surgeries last Friday. Hospital staff have not currently responded to WUFT's requests for updates about resumption of surgery operations. From what hospital representatives have communicated to WUFT News, staff are, quote, doing its best to continue care for the community. Reporting live in the studio, Teitel, WUFT News.
Marion County Sheriff's deputies are hosting workshops on gun safety. The free classes are held on Wednesdays and Fridays throughout April. Deputies will also host one-on-one training lessons where you can learn about the different calibers of guns and how to clean them. For more information, visit the Marion County Sheriff's Office website.
The Education Foundation of Alachua County announced 4 new initiatives after receiving almost $500,000 in federal funding. The funding creates a student positive communication webinar for teens in a positive behavior intervention and support program at Westwood Middle School. ACPS will also hire paraprofessionals for up to 10 schools and provide field trips to college campuses. That's intended for first-generation college students.
A state bill may soon bring music into more Florida classrooms. The trial program would adopt music-based materials into math classes in middle schools. Alachua, Marion, and Miami-Dade are the only counties eligible for the program as of January 17th. Middle schools would adopt the program on July 1st and test it for 2 years. Governor Ron DeSantis signed the elementary school version of the program into law last May. The new pilot program requires middle schools to undergo evaluation by the UF College of Education after the trial period ends. But Alachua County public school leaders say they will review the materials from the state before they can assess the impact it will have on students.
We are a district that has very robust music programs and very robust STEM programs, including math. So if we see that there's a way to bring those two things together, we're certainly encouraged and excited to look at those opportunities.
The bill passed unanimously in the state Senate last month. It was found favorable by the House Appropriations Committee last week. For more information on this story, head to WFT.org.
Gainesville leaders are working to improve a local trail. We'll tell you what safety concerns community members have and what funding is available when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back to First at 5. Alachua County leaders plan to upgrade the Kincaid Loop Trail to improve safety for pedestrians and bicyclists. As WFT's Grace Dunn explains, the trail is currently lacking in pedestrian paths and crosswalks, causing safety concerns.
There are several areas on the trail that do not have a path at all. The lack of a shoulder on the roadway is also dangerous for users. In the past 5 years, there have been 3 fatal and 3 severe injury crashes along the loop.
Has lived in her home for 44 years. Her house sits on the corner of Southeast 15th Street and is adjacent to the entrance of the Kincaid Loop Trail at Bulwer Springs Park. Perkins worries about drivers speeding along the loop, especially at night.
And it doesn't matter whether it's 35 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, or 45. If they're going to speed, they're going to speed.
Alachua County Transportation Planning is beginning the initial stages of renovating the loop. There have been 142 reported crashes over the last 5 years. Senior Transportation Planner Allison Moss knows drivers on the 2-lane road don't always adhere to the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit.
The speeds on the Kincaid Loop are high because there aren't a lot of cross streets and there's not a lot of cues to force drivers to slow down. Really putting bicyclists or other users right along the roadside edge is inherently risky. So by physically separating them and putting them on a separate path, that will improve safety.
The current plan is to construct 3.3 miles of a 10-foot wide multi-use path.
We'll be looking at physical separation. For instance, the Kincaid Loop includes 2 basically 90-degree turns. We'll be looking at putting some sort of physical barrier potentially in those areas.
Perkins wants cyclists and drivers to work together to ensure one another's safety.
The worst part that I've seen is the kids and people that are on bicycles, even to adults on bicycles, that are out at night and wearing dark clothes, no reflections of any kind, and no lights on the bike.
She hopes this upgrade will provide the security she believes the area needs.
The plans also include stormwater infrastructure upgrades due to drainage challenges along the loop. With a budget of approximately $2.8 million, this initiative will drastically change the trail, making it safer and more enjoyable for all. Live in the studio, Grace Dunn, WUFT News.
An upcoming report from a Florida advocacy group shows a north central Florida spring is reaching dangerous levels of pollution.
The ongoing report from Florida Springs Institute shows the chemicals in the water in Silver Springs are more than 3 times a safe level. The chemicals can kill plant life and pollute drinking water from the springs. Florida Springs account for 90% of the state's drinking water, with the Silver Springs system being one of the largest in the state. The full report from FSI officials is expected to release by March 31st.
Now, Cupid is making his way to visit us here in North Central Florida tomorrow for your Valentine's Day. Will love be in the air? We'll have it for you straight after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Let's take a live look over Crystal River right now. Some overcast skies, but we do see a beautiful sunset just peeking through. These clouds are not going to be bringing any rain for this evening. Temperatures are at about 63 degrees right now. Now, speaking of temperatures for the remainder of your evening, if you're having some pre-Valentine celebrations, those temperatures are going to be starting at around 63 degrees, but dropping about 20 degrees to that 3 a.m. hour at 42 degrees. So definitely make sure that a jacket will look good with your or your sweetheart's outfit for this evening, because I definitely think that you are going to need it. Now, waking up tomorrow morning on Valentine's Day, we can see Cupid is definitely underdressed for that Valentine's Day morning. Temperatures at 38 here in Gainesville. A little bit warmer, 42 in the Villages, 37 in Stock. Now, tomorrow is a beautiful opportunity to take a step outside, perhaps a picnic. Prince Perry is my favorite place to go here in Gainesville, and those temperatures are really going to be permitting some wonderful Valentine's Day outdoor activities. These are our highs: 68 here in Gainesville, 70 in Ocala, 66 in Stock. So it's going to be a lovely cool day to be headed out the door. Now, for Valentine's Day, if you're staying with me here in Gainesville, those temperatures are going to be starting at about 40 degrees. You definitely want to snuggle up before you leave on that morning commute. 63 degrees for your 12 p.m. lunch hour. Love is definitely in the air. And then we're going to be peaking at 68 degrees. We have a chilly date night ahead, so again, make sure that that jacket is going to look good for your date night outfit. Now, taking a look at the week ahead, we're warming up just momentarily on Thursday, 71 on Friday, partly cloudy, and we do have some storms on the way for your Saturday. Let's take a look at that weekend. We can see that we're going to be having storms essentially the whole of Saturday and just for a little bit on Sunday. So if you're headed out to church on Sunday, you definitely want to keep that in mind. Let's take a look at the radar for those storms. Around the 8 p.m. hour on Saturday, we see this band of yellow storms in Ocala and Spring Hill, so could be moderate to heavy rain. Definitely keep that in mind if you're having some weekend Valentine's Day plans. For Sunday, 2 p.m., we can see the rain is starting to make its way more toward the south. We do have this band of green still staying with us in Ocala, Daytona Beach, and Spring Hill. Going into your next work week, we do have a bit of a sprinkle shower here and there, but not really anything to bother us too much. Take a look at that 7-day outlook, peaking at 75 on Thursday, and then we are going to be dipping down just a little to 67. We're going to be cold on Sunday at 58, but warming right back up for your next work week.
The Gators men's basketball team might have just bursted its way out of the bubble. We'll have more on what looks to be an exciting finish to Florida's regular season campaign right after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. I'm Reighan Sheppard, and it's time for sports. Just a couple weeks ago, it didn't seem like the Gators men's basketball team stood a chance of getting an invitation to this year's NCAA tournament. However, based on their latest performances, it looks like they can start picking out their outfits. The team defeated number 13 Auburn 81-65 in the O-Dome on Saturday. While they still await a spot in the top 25, the Gators currently sit at 6-4 in the Southeastern Conference and have almost cleared themselves out of the bubble. With just 8 games left in the regular season, if the Gators can get through with minimal losses, they'll be in good position come March. The Gators still have to face number 11 Alabama twice across the next couple weeks, along with SEC leader South Carolina. But first up is LSU. The Gators take on the Tigers tonight at 8 p.m. here in Gainesville. Moving to the Diamond, the Gator baseball team is eagerly awaiting its season opener against St. John's on Friday. Last year, the team charged its way to the Men's College World Series, but unfortunately could not take the win against the LSU Tigers. A loss like that can be crushing, but not for this Gator team. Instead, they've used it as fuel to the fire.
Well, I mean, obviously every team is different. You know, I mean, there's different pieces to the puzzle every year. But I mean, coming off the loss last year, you kind of take that and use it as fuel coming in this year. And as far as that concerns, you take it day by day with that ultimate goal in mind.
You can catch the team as they kick off the first series of the season on Friday against St. John's at 6 p.m. right at Condren Family Ballpark. Moving on, Gator softball kicked off its season over the weekend at the USF Rawlings Invitational. The Invitational took place across 3 days with the team competing in 5 games, and these ladies put on a show. Let's take a look at the team's performance. The Gators took the win in their first game on Friday against Oregon State 1-0. However, Michigan took the win on Saturday, marking the Gators' one and only loss across the season. The Gators came back and defeated Illinois State and Bethune-Cookman both in 5 innings, closing out the weekend with the win against host team USF. The softball team plays again tonight on the road and tomorrow at home against 2-2 Jacksonville University at 6 p.m. Taking it down to the high school level, girls basketball has a loaded weekend of playoff competition. The 2A, 3A, and 4A classes all have their regional quarterfinals tomorrow. Countryside Christian hosts Oak Hall, PK Young will host Bradford, and Dunn will host Eastside. As for 1A, those teams will compete in their semifinal round of competition. Hilliard will take the road to face Hawthorne, Newberry will face Madison County, and Trenton will host Williston. Again, the semifinal round starts tomorrow evening at 7. One final note, former Gator standouts Ricky Pearsall and Kingsley Aguakin have been accepted into the NFL Combine Draft.
The Super Bowl just finished, and we are already back talking about the NFL. You love to see it. You love to see it, don't you?
They never leave the news.
You know what? You know who also stays in the news and related to the NFL? My girl, Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
Valentine's Day is right there.
Exactly.
Love is in the air, guys.
100%.
This is just my way of bringing up my favorite topic to talk about. So,
you know, in my personal forecasting opinion, I think that championship ring is not the only ring Travis has his eyes on. But what I have my eyes on in the forecast is this big band of storms that we're seeing for our Saturday evening. Ocala, Spring Hill, and parts of Orlando. You folks going to be impacted, going to be moving more toward the south. For that Sunday, Ocala, Spring Hill, and Daytona Beach, you folks are still going to have some green sprinkle showers, but it's going to be moving out toward that Sunday evening. But we are going to be seeing some spotty showers going into our Monday next work week. Take a look at that 7-day outlook, peaking at 75 on Thursday. Saturday is going to be having that rain at 67 degrees, going to be a cool Sunday for 58 degrees. You know, we're going to be having that weekend rain. So if you do have some weekend Valentine's Day plans that you want to do, I definitely suggest doing it on Friday. Going into your next work week, temperatures are going to be moving up just a little back into the 60s, going to be feeling like normal going into our next work week.
Love is really in the air, and that weather is certainly showing it. I am looking forward to tomorrow's weather, looking forward to this weekend's weather. Yeah, looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to spring, personally. I feel like Puxatawny Phil has lied to me. I'm cold, and I don't like it.
I'm a big fan of the winter, though. Like, I love the cold. Like, when the sunshine starts to come out, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's when it gets hot in Florida, it gets hot.
Yeah,
so
and that humidity too, especially.
Right,
it really like starts to make
and
you
we did
feel.
warn you, Phil is only right like 40% of the time. So.
We can agree to
It's
disagree.
not me 100% of the time.
Thank you so much. BBC, you go ahead.
BBC World News is next, and the PBS News Hour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WFT.org. Have a great night.